After a number of requests and coming fresh off that movie 8 Broly pack, I felt like I had no choice but to revive one of the older series from the channel's archives. Let's talk about some good old-fashioned DBZ beatdowns, the type your grandma used to make, because it's been far too long, homies. First up, will y'all please let me talk about Imperfect Cell vs. Android 17. I've definitely grown fond of my boy Dylan Sprouse over the years, but if I'm being objective, this fella got sent straight to the Apple store by Cell, and we really gotta talk about it. But he started off strong, coming off that Piccolo fight with some gas in the tank, trying to deliver a flying knee from the top rope. When the dust settled though and Cell was going, you already knew this fight was wrapped. So Ugly Ass Boy comes up behind him, hits him with a tail whip straight out of Pokemon, but this time it actually worked. Had my man's face down, ass up like this was a Sexy Red video. Then he comes over to tenderize the meat, getting up on Mary Kate Olsen with a full mount and putting those Villain of the Week 14s all up on my man's good handkerchief and duffing him right in the face, with 17 putting up no types of guard. Cell then took this fella to DBZ Burst Limit and hit a right trigger wide directly into Tamara's breadbasket, followed up with some guaranteed CTE in the form of an elbow to the back of the head, and had homie's whole Mac OS rebooting. Fella's brother and sister were watching from the sideline as the devious fade continued, but it was already curtains, man. 17 had to get one last lick off verbally, telling Cell about how chopped he is, only for Cell to remind him that this is about to be his face too, right before taking his ass to Taco Bell before becoming the big lip monstrosity we all love to hate. And you know what? Speaking of Android 17, he gets a little tragic redemption here because we gotta talk about him and his sister was doing my man's future Gohan back in their timeline. Cursed ass timeline, old Gotham City berserk ass timeline. Festivities for this was starting when 17 was outside the club blowing up Teslas to fend off his boredom. When in one of the most out-of-pocket entrances in DBZ, Gohan materializes from a different timeline and atomic drop kicks this fella 2 different area codes away. 18 was petty as hell too, laughing the moment he got launched to the moment he emerged from the rubble and his fit got that end of movie Goku transformation. Before the hands even got thrown though, the vibes were off, because our buddy Mirai Gohan even in the pregame wasn't saying he was going to win this fight, but told him that they were to smoke him, somebody nastier with an even better fit would come and take his place. When your MC enters the fight telling the villains his successor is going to run their fate, I just need y'all to know it's okay to pre-grieve because that character is toast. The fight was insane work from the first punch thrown. 17 and 18 jump protocol had been polished to a spit shine. And not only were they dealing with a Gohan here who never got that training camp from his pops because his old man caught AIDS and died in his timeline, the big man working with a single arm on top of it, making this one of the foulest handicap matches to ever grace the screen. Gohan will block one hit only to catch a donkey punch to the back of the noggin and get sent flying. And being so for real, what the hell else was he supposed to do? The 2v1 fade was just too immaculate. There was no plot armor thick enough to help him out of this one. Now, I mean, the big homie didn't try though. Fella mashed hard enough to win the 2v1 key blast and was truly giving the Wonder Twins the work. It had me on my last leg when he scooped up 18 by her size 8 Doc Martens and gave her a free tour of his condo face first. Gohan took his place at the bottom of the building to admire his work, and he definitely managed not to grin off both their faces. But round 2 began and it would not go well. The rain started coming down and Scarlet and Hunter Johansson nodded to one another. It was time to run that Saiyan ass beating algorithm they've been saving for Goku. The teamwork ramped up to insane levels. Gohan didn't even know where to look, bro. It was like fighting a single person in 2 bodies. They scuffed his J's, shoulder checked him into a wall, and the most disrespectful part of all, finished him with a key blast volley. The only character I can think of in Z Canon that actually got put in a pack by that move. Wild. Mirai Gohan, you deserve so much better, bro. If only your dad wasn't out here messing with them skeezers on Yard Draft, this timeline would have been hella different. You know what, speaking of the Wonder Twins wreaking havoc, let's talk about Boo versus Evil Boo real quick. Y'all remember when Boo started tweaking out after the op shot his dog and his boyfriend within minutes of each other? Buddy had a whole ass mental breakdown and split into 2, giving us Charlie Murphy Boo. And sizing one another up briefly, calorie-rich Boo decided he didn't like the cut of this guy's jib and immediately started throwing the ones, ready to knock his twin's head off. Calorie-deficient Boo quickly proved, though, that the melanin and Ozempic boost was nothing to be trifled with. Sent Big Man flying and was just putting him through the wash and dry cycle. This is so wild because up to this point, y'all gotta remember that Boo was perceived as absolutely invincible. This man had the whole Z-Crew shook beyond repair, put both Goku and Vegeta out of commission, with the best hope of a dub being Hercule providing Gigolo services and the Earth potentially being able to win the psychological game. So to see Black and Mild Boo doing this to Big Body Boo was like an absolute absolutely unheard of experience. Boo was trying out all his old tricks too, even hitting him with the Gumma Gumma No special and wrapping him up like he did Majin Vegeta, only to have Newport Light Boo flex on him and bust out, then proceed to chew on his bubble gum like his name was Rashida. They knuckled up for a final clash, and after Boo lost the Kamehameha beam struggle, it was effectively over, y'all. Just look at the way this man Charlie Murphy Boo was smiling at E40 Boo on the ground. Just putting me to sleep if I ever got a grown man standing over me smiling like this. Brickhouse Boo then used his last ace, shooting off a candy beam, but then he had to turn his table when Melanated Boo shot his menthol breath, reversed the attack, and turned Big Body Boo into a snack. Just bust ass central from top to bottom. Y'all remember how I mentioned the Prince earlier, right? How about we take a minute to talk about everyone's favorite member of royalty and reminisce on that Android 18 versus the Prince involved misogyny beating, cause boy was it one for the ages. What made it so crazy though wasn't even just how wild the hands were, but the psychological damage inflicted from this one. I swear this gotta be the origins of the Vegeta family hatred for robots. I think this fate lodged itself somewhere in the homie's genetic code. So when Trunks was born, that fella had hate in his heart for clankers and washing machines from frame one.
No way! You're a plague to the Earth, just like all the other androids! Why would anyone want to help your kind?
Bombastic side eye. Criminal offensive side eye.
Just a classic moment. We're dealing with a Vegeta who's fresh off a Super Saiyan transformation. We gotta remember that for a little while, Vegeta was in his sad boy era. Everybody was blind except for him, and he just couldn't seem to break the wall. But after going in space and sobbing uncontrollably for a few hours, the tingle in his back activated, and now we got a Vegeta on his absolute worst behavior. Despite all the warnings his son tried to give him, his deadbeat ass still went out to the highway looking for problems with the androids, and boy did he find them. But he was so in his head that he was ready to take all three of them on at the same time, which would have been a curb stomper for the ages. But the android settled on letting little sis handle this one. And from the first punch thrown, you can see this wasn't about to pan out the way Vegeta wanted. 18 had this man out here racking up Godzilla civilian casualty numbers strictly off the love of the game, and she was just toying with him. I don't know how many Negan's fresh off their CDL got taken to that big DMV in the sky after this one, but Vegeta was out here putting more truckers out of work than AI and terrorists. The way 18 had this man Vegeta doing the Kool-Aid man through the landscape has got to be studied. Had it looking like a round of Guilty Gear Strive the way he was getting put through the wall and knocked into different parts of the level. His son and the remaining Z Squad showed up for support, but 17 bitched out the whole crew, letting them know that if he even got a whiff of them trying to help Vegeta, his metal arm would be in their booty hole so quick they would have to rename him and his sister Adam and Eve. And so Android 18 proceeded to put on a Tekken 8 level combo video with Vegeta's body until it culminated in the fracture heard around the world when she imploded his ball career by snapping that left arm like a twig. And Dragon Ball fans know that arm ain't been the same ever since, boy. Every fight after this, every time the Prince of all fractures is getting put through it, you can guarantee that right arm is holding the left like it was a sock puppet. This beatdown ended with the rest of Z-Cast having to get straight bullied by the remaining oil drinkers, because Trunks felt he had no choice but to step in watching his dad's 3-point arm get retired like that. And to round out this list, y'all gonna think I'm hating for this, but we gotta stick with the Prince for a little bit longer and talk about that molly whopping he took on Namek against Final Form Frieza. Bro, I was low-key feeling bad for bringing this fight up, because we aren't just talking about a physical ass whooping. This literally broke homie's spirit and might be one of the most horrifying moments in the whole series. So we got Vegeta, fresh off of Zenkai, and truly feeling in his heart that he's a Super Saiyan, the stuff of legend. And with this newfound boost, his plan is to finally come regulate and pay Frieza back for the years of humiliation he suffered licking the boots of the Frieza Force. Themes that we saw come back in that last 18 fade. It's so bad, bro, because in the opening salvo, it looks like this could really be an even matchup. Vegeta is applying pressure, and Frieza and his immaculately applied lipstick are out here fighting for their life, trying to Dempsey roll the Saiyan's offense without even getting a chance to counter for real. Gohan and Krill are looking at the whole affair and feel like there might finally be some hope. The situation on Namek up to this point has been hellish, to say the least. But between Big Green and now Vegeta showing up on their worst behavior, they may get off this planet yet. But for some reason, the homie can't seem to relax, and it's because the Green's the only one that realizes how cooked they are. Krill and Gohan are up in Vegeta's ego domain, thinking that he's the loudest dog barking in the room and the first to bite, so that means he's the toughest. But Big Green, in all his melanated wisdom, knows what's really going on. Frieza's toying with Buddy, and while Vegeta's out here exhausting everything he has in the tank just to get a clean lick off, what's showing up on Frieza's face ain't stress, it's amusement. And that's the last thing you want to see on the person's face who's trying to punch your card. But that stark truth came to light the moment Frieza showed the briefest glimpse of taking the fight seriously, moving so fast not even Vegeta with his trim boosted Saiyan instincts to keep up with him. For the first time since he gained this newfound power, we see Vegeta's pride and arrogance turn into something different, anxiety and terror. For the first time in the saga, we see Vegeta begin to doubt the legend of the Super Saiyan, worrying for the first time in his life that even if he is the warrior of legend, the monster Frieza has become outclasses even the limits of the best of his people. As scared as he was though, Vegeta powers up to his absolute limit and starts firing shots all around in a desperate, reckless attempt that one of his beams may be the one that stops the onslaught. But after a stronger shot gets kicked into the same place Pikachu be launching Team Rocket, Vegeta himself knew it was raps. Now y'all know on this channel I'm all about having fun and making light about the series we love, but keep it a buck, watching Vegeta in this moment even as an adult makes me feel away, because we have to sit here and watch a grown man, a proud warrior, gets absolutely broken to his core. Vegeta sheds tears here in front of these kids and right in front of his enemy. He cries because he knows it's a wrap. I can't really put into words how wild of a moment this is. For him to be shook on this level, to show weakness not only to the enemy in this way, but someone who he has so much history and hate for, and for all that to be deleted in this moment and just the raw emotions remaining, absolutely one of the most powerful moments in Z. And we all know his history from here, homies. Frieza starts flexing on him, doing cartwheels in the air before knocking him into the swimming pool, only to get biblical on his ass and part the Red Sea before taking the prince out for Red Lobster and bag shots on the first date. From there he catches even more bag shots until ultimately Frieza decides to punch his card once Goku arrives. Crazy ass work, y'all. This was both a physical and a psychological beatdown, and a major reason this one absolutely had to be on the list. And that right there, people, is yet another entry in our wildest DBZ beatdowns list. This was mad fun. Insane to think how long it's been since I had to drop one of these. If you enjoyed, please let me know by showing some love to the vid, liking, sharing, subscribing, all that good stuff. And be sure to let me know which beatdowns I missed, because if y'all are feeling this one, might have to run it back again, because we know there's no shortage of belt being put to ass in the Dragon Ball franchise. Y'all be easy out here. Thank you for watching, and keep up with you again in the next one.